Thursday. Hey y'all, happy Thursday. I think it's Thursday, whatever. So first, before I even get started, this is off topic. I am still trying to catch my breath because I had to run from upstairs to downstairs to get my son in order. And I think he's still playing around, but whatever. It is what it is. So I'm out of breath. That's what's happening. Yeah. So I'm going to be regaining my composure as I talk. So today I wanted to come live to talk about pricing to poverty. And let me say, before I even start shooting off at the mouth, let me say, one, I am not a financial advisor. I am not in the finance industry. I am merely sharing my story starting out in business and what has helped me and things I wish I took account of before starting my business and trying to expand and all that stuff. So also too, while we're talking about pricing, the services matching the pricing of stuff. So I'm going to mention that as well. So I'm going to be talking about all that. Gaining my breath. It's coming back. It's coming back. But anyway, so just want to clear that air on that. I'm not a financial advisor. Please, I highly recommend that you seek somebody in the finance industry. I am just speaking, again, off of my personal things. So everything's going to be different because I have different goals, different finance goals and finance things I have to pay. So just want to throw that out there. Get a professional, or at least the bare minimum. Look at what these finance leaders are recommending and try to get stuff in order that way. But anyway, so getting started. So I want to use my real life story because it's easier for me to talk about that and compare it. So actually, no, one last thing. So as y'all know, I'm a service provider. So product-based businesses, you can kind of relate certain things, but yours is going to be kind of like a different focus. So with product-based businesses, yeah, you're doing a service, but also your products, whatever you're making, you are probably going to focus more so on okay, how many units do I need to move to make a certain goal, and how many ounces, I'm making something, how many ounces to the dollar or the cent that you're using for the products, all that stuff. So you have different measures of different measures. I'm going to say that because I am not getting my words out. You have different measures. So product-based businesses, y'all have a whole bunch of other stuff y'all have to take account for. So I'm focusing more so on the service provider side, but the same stuff can kind of be implemented for our product basis as well. It's just, of course, y'all have a little bit more, and which is why, again, find a professional in that industry that can help you more so, because I can mainly talk about the service provider side. But okay, so getting started. So let's say you're just getting started inside your business and you're trying to figure out okay, let me see, the first recommendation people tell you to do when you're trying to figure out pricing, look at your competitors, see what they're charging, what are they offering to their customers and clients. So that's where a lot of us start off. It seems pretty no-brainer type thing, right? I should start out wherever people are telling me, or whatever other people are doing. Whatever people are doing, I should kind of base my pricing around that. So this is where mistake number one happens, because what people don't tell you is their actual goals, financial goals. And a lot of times too, people are actually undercharging themselves in these industries, especially service providers. A lot of people are severely undercharging. Hey y'all, severely undercharging themselves. So you're starting out in business, you're looking in these groups or social media, okay, this person's charging this much. Meanwhile, this person may be selling a whole bunch of products, but what they're not telling you is that they're not making anything inside their business. They may bring in a certain amount, may flash that on social media, oh, I brought in this much. But once you do the complete breakdown, they're not making anything. So it's just they're running an expensive hobby at that point. So when you're comparing yourself to other people's services, pricing and stuff, you got to think of okay, keep in mind that they may not be going after the same financial things you are. Goals, there we go. They're not going after the same financial goals you may be going after. And two, a lot of times people aren't even legally running their businesses. So they tend to charge cheaper because they're not worrying about paying taxes and overhead and all this other stuff. So there's another thing you got to consider. So when you look at stuff inside your industry, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. Okay, these are the people that are charging, they're charging this. So okay, maybe I should charge around that. But again, take that with a grain of salt, because not everyone is doing things ethically, legally, or they just may have simply different goals. I can tell you some of the service providers, I started out as a virtual assistant. So sometimes virtual assistants, they're only doing it to make like a certain goal because they want to make an extra $600 a month inside their home life. So they base their pricing really low, so they get like a lot of clients, but they make their goals. So that's something to keep in mind. And then for other people, they may want to reach a certain like higher goal, so they may charge a little bit more. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into play here. So just keep that in mind. So we're gonna move on to like the poverty side in just a moment. So now that you know, like, okay, I want to charge this amount, but these people are charging that. So I'm going to charge what they're charging. And this is what's leading people to what I say pricing to poverty, because we don't know what other people are like monetary goals. They may have like a whole significant other that takes care of the household, so they don't really have to worry about trying to pay bills and stuff with their business money. So when you're comparing yourself to other people, this is where like the poverty line comes in. It's just like, okay, one, you're trying to compare to other people. That's fine to an extent. And also, too, this is where it also comes in, like the boundaries, business, and all that stuff. And this plays a significant role, too, when it comes to pricing, because I will say for myself, when I was running my business, I was so focused on wanting to make a certain amount inside my business. Like I had money goals. I knew I wanted to hit a certain amount inside my business, and I was okay with that. What I didn't like really think of was like, how many people do I actually really want to take a month or a week, whatever, to actually get the job done and actually make the money I actually was seeking. So I was basing my pricing, looking at other people, seeing what they were charging, and then kind of basing my pricing off of that without like really real thought of what kind of people I was going to attract to the different services and products I was doing. Services I was doing. And also, too, like, I wasn't thinking about growth in mind. Like, I was kind of thinking of the right here and right now. So when I was pricing, I had like, my pricing was, I'm embarrassed to say now, like some of the reels I make, I kind of like make fun of myself. But like, one of my packages was like $150 a month. And like, one of my goals was to bring home like $3,200 a month. And of course, I could like fight for people to, not fight, but like I could encourage people for the higher packages, but because I was ignorant to the fact of marketing and like really trying to show the significance why people needed my stuff, I focused on a low level. Cause I was like, you know what? I can help people. It's in their budget and this, that, and the third. So again, this mindset was keeping me in the poverty level because I was focused on one, other people's pockets. And two, I was like so focused on only making money for like the right now. It led me to, of course, like burning out and pretty much all the negative things you could think of. And then, of course, because I was getting busy, because everyone saw that price point, they're just like, oh, like she's charging this, that, like $150 a month for virtual assistant services. Like, okay, let's go to that. I needed help in my business pretty quick. So having to like, when I was pricing myself that low, I wasn't thinking about, again, future growth. So like now I need help inside my business. So I was like, where am I going to get the help from? And when I am hiring people, I felt myself micromanaging. So this is where some of the stuff comes in too. I was kind of micromanaging, or I was taking tasks and stuff away from people because I couldn't afford to have them. Like I needed their help, but I couldn't afford it because I was pricing myself way too low. So getting help, could barely afford to pay them because I was significantly undercharging. Like eventually I did raise my price a little bit, but again, even then I was still pricing myself way too low. So all that, all that to say, after it took, anyway, all the planning and stuff, it finally clicked like, okay, let me actually write down my goals and figure out like what exactly I need finance wise to actually make what I actually need. So keep in mind, again, I already had people working with me inside my business. So I had to like sit there and figure out like, okay, how much do I want to be able to pay everybody? How much do I need like to stay afloat company wise and all that stuff? So I'm going to back it up just a little bit. So now that I had my team and everything and I had to figure out like the pricing, I still was kind of, I'm not going to be upfront with that. Hey, there you go. Thing like I was like, okay, I have new goals now. Like it still wasn't clicking. Like focus more so on like the actual numbers. Like I don't know much now, and blah blah blah, and actually solve my problems. Right? Like of course, like you make more money. Like the problem should solve itself. Right? So I was making more money, but in I was making more money, but in return, I was spending more money because now I wasn't the only one inside my business because I need to pay for programs and softwares that supported my team. So again, here I am making a certain amount a month that like, oh, I can like you reach 5K, like this, that in a month. Like here I am hitting these numbers, but I was again, that more money, more problems thing is real. So I don't think otherwise. So all of this to say, whenever you are pricing your services or products, whatever the case may be, actually sit down and figure out how much you need to bring a month just for yourself. So this is where the tips come in as well. So figure out how much you need a month. So like if you, again, product-based businesses, I'm a service provider, so I mainly focus on services, but products, what you would have to do is, again, focus on like the, like the units, like stuff like I said in the beginning of the video, like the units, like you sell something by the ounce or like all that stuff. Like how many ounces of this does it take to make this product and how much of the dollar are you using and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. So you got all that other math y'all need to figure out. But anyway, so when it comes to say like the pricing structure, one, it's okay to look at other people's pricing structure. Like it's fine to look at other people's pricing structure, but don't take it to heart because everyone, again, has their own goals. Because when you're focusing on other people, again, it's going to make you broke because you're trying to focus on like keeping up with them, whereas you may need more or less of whatever they're trying to achieve. So looking at people's stuff with a grain of salt. And then two, figure out, like actually crunch these numbers, how much you need to make a month, like for your take home pay and how much your company needs to meet to sustain and how much, I like to say, like plan for your future team, even though you may be by yourself for now. Who do you want to hire? Which again kind of falls to like the template I have. Like why have that section? Like who exactly do you feel like you would need in this quarter and how are you going to be able to pay them and how are you going to be thinking about that stuff? So two, I lost my train of thought, y'all. Okay, but anyway, I'm just going to ramble until it comes back. But anyway, so we have the pricing structure, not looking at other people. Two, figuring out your budget, like one, your take home pay versus like your company, like how much does your company need to make, and then also how much are you trying to bring home. And this is where you need to think about as well. So whenever you want to do like your take home pay, don't just think about like bills and all that stuff. Like yes, think about them, but also think about like the extracurricular stuff that you may want to do. Like what do you see as a necessity? Because not everyone sees different things as a necessity. Like for me, like I'm at the point in my life and business where it's a necessity for me to have a housekeeper come in. I need someone to help with like, I need a nanny. Like I need all this different stuff. So like my financial goals are going to be a whole lot higher than someone that may be doing it as a side hustle or something like that. So this is why it's important to like crunch your numbers and not focus so much on what other people are charging or what other people can afford in your eyes, because people can afford any price point. So we can just get that out of the way. People afford any price point. It's just the matter of how you're selling it and if it seems beneficial to them in their life. And if it doesn't, that's cool. Keep it moving. But we are focusing on you with your pricing structure. So make sure you are charging enough to, one, I don't even want to say sustain. So you're living the life that you want. So if you want to live the life you want, you need to figure out like the pricing down to each dollar. Like how much do you need to bring in a month? Start looking around like your town, city, like if you're like me, like you need a housekeeper and all that stuff, start pricing them out. If you find companies, add that into like your take home pay that you want to make inside your business. So you're going to round all those numbers up. If you like meal delivery services, add that stuff inside your budget. So whatever that number is, that's what your take home pay is. And now that you have take home pay, now you're going to figure out like how much you need as your company, like how much does your company to bring in so you can afford, one, to be able to pay yourself your take home pay, and then two, the rest of the stuff. And like if you're about to pay for a team, like how much does the company need to make so you can afford your team to keep working? Taxes, all that stuff comes into play. So this is why it's super important. Again, I cannot stop reiterating this, but like this is why it's super important not to worry about what other people are charging, because again, we focus on other people too much, and this is like the same thing. Like we need to focus on our own lane. Stop worrying about other people. You got to focus on what you need to bring, and then the rest kind of follows. So like, again, focus on that. Once you got your pricing number, you got your structure, you got all that stuff done, Now you can start breaking it apart. Like, okay, I know how much my company needs to make roughly. It changes. It's fine. It's good to have at least rough estimate numbers. So like, okay, I need to bring home roughly around this much, and my company needs to make about this much so I can afford the life that I need. So once you have that done, this is where you start building systems. So when you're building your system out, like I will need to make, I'm just gonna name a number. Like one of my numbers was like, I need to be able to bring home at least $6,000 a month. So out of the $6,000, I was like, okay, once I added up everything, my company needs to make at least $15,000 a month. So that way I can bring home whatever I need to bring home. So my number is $15,000. So what exactly do I need to sell every month, or what do I need to do each month to make sure I'm paying my company is making what I need it to do, and also make enough for me to be able to take home how much I need each month. So this is where you start building the system. So you start breaking down like, okay, down to like the pricing and like your products, your services, which ones like your higher tier services, your lower end are the ones you kind of like refer out, kind of push out whenever people can't afford like the higher tier. But this is why one is good to have like different tiers, and two, a good, I hate high ticket, but I can't think of any other word right now. So this is where like the high ticket offer comes in with service providers. So you have something that's kind of like high tier, is more expensive than anything. And this is normally the ones you want to push. So like, let's say you want to build your system around that. Like mine is the SOP services. So those are the ones I'm normally going to push, because just 3 makes enough for my company that I need to be able to take home what I need to take home. So I need to push that, but I need a system for that. How exactly I'm going to get people in and see they actually need the service or want the service or actually know about the service? Like, how are you going to get people to know about your services, right? So you build a system. And starting with that, you can start simply, the easiest way to do it is just to come up with like a little freebie, lead magnet, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't even have to be free. It can just be like a discount or something low level. But whatever you decide to come up with, this is where it comes from. You got your lead magnet. So you got to get people in, warm them up. Some people may see your stuff and just like buy immediately. It's not always going to happen. So you want to make sure you have like a clear process how to gain people and nurture and sell. So now that you have your lead magnet, you have to come up with a process. So this is where I talk about this in another video too, like breaking it down. So I'm going to brush on this very quickly. But like when you're building a system, we're going to focus particularly on the process first, because you can't build like the whole system until you have like a process for each thing. So like my process on Instagram, I'm going to promote I may promote my services, but like the lead magnet would probably be like, oh, like if you want to learn more about this, go to my Facebook group. That's like one of the lead magnets I have. So with that lead magnet, it's my Facebook group. And there you can kind of nurture people and all that good stuff and talk more about it. So like one of my lead magnets, the Facebook group. So now I have to build a process between like the Facebook group and also how exactly are people going to learn more about me and all that stuff. So with that, I create a process. Like this is the Facebook group. From the Facebook group, they have the option to go in the newsletter or blah, blah, blah. With the Facebook group, I do events, blah, blah, blah. These are like different processes I have. So each social media, was it outlet? Whatever, I'll call it outlet. Each of the social media outlets have their own certain process or certain like system I have built in with it. Because with Instagram, with the different processes I have, like from, it's Clubhouse, sorry. Clubhouse. With Clubhouse, like one of my processes is I have people DM me a word, SOP, they get a template. That's another of my lead magnets I have too. So each lead magnet that I have has its own process. And within like the process, it varies on the different platforms. So I do a lot. So I'm going to try and keep it, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm like kind of confusing right now. So I'm going to erase the first Facebook group one. We're going to focus on the template, because the template was the one I was pushing a lot last year. So we're focused on the template. So y'all pretend y'all didn't hear the other stuff. But anyway, so the template, like Clubhouse, the template was my bread and butter last year. So I was like, okay, I need to create a system around the SOP services, but also I need to figure out how I'm going to get these people into my things. Now that I have my pricing and how much I know exactly how much I need to make now, I can build like the process and the systems now. So now that I have that, I had to break down like, okay, how am I going to get these people? Yeah. So anyway, so from Clubhouse, they say SOP, they get the message. Again, this is not automated yet. This is just the process. So I just want to get that clear. Like the system is not like the tools and stuff that we use. It's just simply, it enhances this, the process I have. So from Clubhouse, they messaged me SOP. They got the template. Boom, got the template. And then from there, I have different tiers for them to choose and kind of lead to the services. But you never want to start automating just right off the bat, just because you want to kind of test things out first. Like the automation stuff comes a little after, but like you want to make sure you have like a process mapped out before you try to add in all these different softwares and tools. Because again, like I usually say, when you add something that's not clear to something, well, when you're not clear on your stuff and you try to add in automations and all these fancy stuff inside a process that's broken, it's just going to enhance the broken process. So you don't want to do that yet. You want to make sure, like, test it out. So my process from just simply Clubhouse, I was like, I want to push a template, but the end goal is for people to go to like my main service. So I came with the process, SOP, the template there has like content where they can book like a consult, and normally has my website, so that way it kind of like feeds people into there. They can choose to go to the email list, all that good stuff. But I'm not going to break down like the full thing in this video today, but you kind of get the idea. But like you want to have a process that leads to whatever service or product that you're offering. And then also you want to make sure you're doing it often enough to hit your goal for each month. So that way you're hitting, again, the pricing that you need to make inside your company or your business, so you can take home what you actually need inside your business. So all of it plays a role. So like this is why it's important to have your pricing, at least the bare minimum idea what you need every month, and also knowing like which services you would need to promote so you can actually afford what you need a month. And the needs again, the needs again are whatever you feel like you need for take home pay. Like again, my needs are like I need a housekeeper and stuff inside of this, so it's equated inside the monthly stuff I need to bring home. So stuff like that. So everything is kind of like revolving around like, okay, you want to make a certain amount, that's fine, but how exactly are you going to build like a system around that? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, how are you going to make a system out of that? And then also, like, how are you going to keep it afloat? So this is why it's important to make sure everything's, like, at least planned out before you try to, like, just push services, go on social media, promote, and there's nothing to really capture people. So that's pretty much all I got tonight. So, because I am, like, I forgot my water, so I was, like, looking down, and I realized I did not bring it in because my throat was dry, y'all. But anyway, so overall, just a little recap. I like doing this. I know people, I don't know, when I look through videos, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I be skipping through videos, so like I do a lot of recaps. So if y'all haven't noticed, when I ever do my lives, I'll do recap at like different points, just because I know people are like me that kind of like skip through. But anyway, sorry y'all, distracted. But anyway, so just like a recap, just from the beginning, whatever you are pricing your services, one, it is okay to look at your industry and see what other people are charging, but take it with a grain of salt, because everybody has different price points. And also, again, not everyone's run their business legally, so they don't have to worry about the same stuff. If you're running like your business legally, they're not worried about tax and stuff. They're just doing stuff under the table. So they can charge a lot less because they're not worrying about, building a team and all that stuff. Like, they're just living. They're just living. But anyway, so just take what you see with a grain of salt. I would still pay attention to it, but like, again, like I said, I keep saying grain of salt when you do that. And then two, when it comes to pricing, take account of everything that you feel is a necessity in your life, or something that, you know what, whatever you feel like whatever you feel like is a necessity. Like I said, housekeeping, and then also stuff for self-care, that's a necessity to me a month. So that's included in when I do my pricing structure. So whenever you do your pricing, you figure out the pricing of all the things that you want to take account of. So again, of course, bills, like we can't get around that. Your household bills, let me say that. Your household bills, and then also the other stuff that you feel like helps you enhance like your self-care or your household, whatever you feel like is needed, that's how much you're going to add in. So like housekeeping, meal delivery, self-care stuff, massages a month. If you feel that's self-care, getting your nails done, that's self-care to you. That's part of your budget. Make sure it's added in. Yes, self-care is a necessity. But whatever you feel like is a necessity in your life, add it into your pricing. Like, again, like I tell people, this is your business. Like, you start this business not to only make a difference, but like you're in it to make money. So if you feel like that's a necessity, add it inside your payment. So anyway, before I get sidetracked yet again, So add in all your the stuff. So then you have your monthly number that you want to be able to bring home. You probably won't hit it like every month or like in the beginning as you're working up. You may not get everything. That's fine. But at least you have the number there. And then also now that you have your number that you want to take home, you got to think about the numbers that you need for your company as a whole. So again, that goes to taxes, people on your team, future team, if it's just you. I would start putting stuff in a savings account. So when it comes time to like hire, you can already put like a down payment on somebody and like be set. That's something I kind of wish I did in the beginning. I didn't have a savings account for at least 1.5 years inside my business. I don't know what I was running off of, but stuff like that. If you're not in the place to hire yet, just put in savings, like save it. And honestly, you should be saving anyway. Even with a team, you should be saving extra money just to have. But anyway, so you think about like your company, like how much does your company need to bring in to be able to pay people, pay taxes, pay for all the different software and stuff that you're using. And then you're going to add that number, and then you have your actual number that you need to make in business. And that's how you're going to use it to break down all of your products and services to see what you need to push and help you towards your goals. So that's the pricing structure. And then with your pricing structure, now that you decided that, okay, I need to make this amount, I'm going to say numbers, so I can't do this amount. I need to make $15,000 a month. So now with the $15,000 a month, I need to figure out what exactly I'm going to be pushing, like service-wise. What am I going to be pushing? What am I going to be drawing people to? And out of that, I would be creating different processes, which, again, all of it breaks down to like your systems and everything. Again, another video. So you come up with like the process, like, okay, I want people to go to this one, but how exactly am I going to get the people to this? So this is where all your processes, this is where the systems come in, and this is where you map out everything. So that's it. So when it comes to pricing the property, it's just, when it comes to avoiding pricing yourself to poverty, the whole end goal of me rambling and talking is simply stop worrying about other people, worry about yourself, and figure out what kind of pricing you need to sustain in life and build off that. And that's it. That's the secret. There's no secret or anything. Just that's literally all there is to it. I'm going to get ready to hop on off of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. Feel free if you want to if you want to design different systems for all your services, products, I'm going to find somebody for y'all because y'all got too much going on. I'm going to find somebody that kind of like helps with product e-commerce. But anyway, so if you're a service provider, I got you. You can book a system strategy call and we'll map out like different processes, social media, all that good stuff, and recommended tools for you to use inside of your businesses. And also I finally just added in a payment plan thing for that. So you put half down, half with the follow-up call and all that stuff. So I'm excited about that. I also have been doing that since last year, but I didn't. But anyway, so there's that, the system strategy call, or just join Business a Lazy Way. I'm going to be dropping more tips and doing some other stuff once I have all my stuff updated and all that good stuff. So Facebook group, Business a Lazy Way, or if you want to work one-to-one, the system strategy call. That's all I got. My throat is severely dry. I'm going to go, y'all. Y'all have a good Thursday and see y'all soon.